Right, so we are going to look at the Pythagoras theorem, and you're joining me, which is Maths with Holly. So first what we're going to do is explore that Pythagoras theorem. What do we use it for? Why is it useful? So when we're looking at the Pythagoras theorem, we always look at it when we have a right-angled triangle. And what that means is we have an angle that is 90 degrees. So in some questions, you have to either look for the right-angled triangle, make it yourself, or then you might have shapes within each other. And what you do is we have the longest side, which is always opposite that right angle, which we call our hypotenuse, which we are going to call C. And then our two shorter sides you can call A and B. And it doesn't matter what the order is. It doesn't matter what way your triangle is. It could look like this. But I always know my longest sides I call C. And the other two sides don't really matter. You can call one A, you call one B. And then we're going to use the formula, which is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So if you add the two shorter sides together and square them, it will always equal the longer side squared. So for example, I'm going to use numbers that are going to work nicely. If I had this right angle triangle, let's say this length at the top was 3 centimeters and this length at the bottom was 4. I need to know, okay, what is that longest side? I would say, well, I know 3 squared plus 4 squared is going to give me C squared. So 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, and then that is going to give me C squared. 9 plus 16 is 25. So if I'm going to work out what C is, I'm going to have to square root that 25, and my answer would be 5. Okay, so that's just a nice clear example of what we use Pythagoras. So now we're going to go and have a little look at actual exam questions. Okay, so here we have a right angled triangle. We have 14 is one of the lengths of A to C. C to B is 9 centimeters, and we have to work out the length of A to B. So if we look here straight away, I know that that is going to be C. That is my longest side. So I can label the other two sides. I've got A and B, they're my shortest. And then we just substitute them into the formula, which is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So I have 14 squared, and I'm going to plus 9 squared, and that is going to give me C squared. Okay, so for this question, if you don't know what 14 squared is, I would suggest knowing your square numbers up to at least 15, but it's 196. And we're going to add 81 because that is 9 squared, and that is going to equal C squared. So once you've added them two numbers together, we are going to get 277 equals C squared. So when we get our answer, it wants us to round to one decimal place. So in order to get my answer, I need to do the square root of 277. That would give me what C is, because I have to square root both sides. So in this example, when you square root a number, you do usually get a plus or a minus. But because we're talking about the length here, it's always going to be that positive number. So C is going to equal 16.643. So to one decimal place, I know that 4 we round down. So my answer is 16.6 centimeters. So that is just a nice basic question of how we use Pythagoras, and that is worth 3 marks. Okay, right, so let's move on. Let's have a go doing a question we have decimals for both of them. So again, I'm going to mark the opposite, which is C. Opposite that right angle is the longest side. Then we have A, and then we have B. So I know 5.2 squared plus 6.8 squared is going to give me C squared. So 5.2 squared plus 6.8 squared is going to give me an answer of 73.28. And to work out what C is, I need to square root to get what C is. So the square root is going to give me in this question 8.5603. It wanted to 2 decimal places this time. So 1, 2. Because that is just 0, we're going to have 8.56. Right, let's have a look at a question then when we are not looking for that longest side and we're looking for one of the shorter sides. So for this question, 8.5 is what we're going to call C. A and B again don't matter, so I'm going to call 4A, and we are looking for now B. So if I use my normal formula of Pythagoras, so a squared plus b squared is c squared, a is 4 squared, b x squared, and c is 8.5 squared, and I need to work out what x is. So I'm going to rearrange this. I'm going to subtract 4 squared from both sides. So x squared equals 8.5 squared minus 4 squared. So x squared is going to equal 8.5 squared minus 4 squared, which is going to give me 56.25. So if I want to work out what x is, only the positive value, we are going to square root that answer. And we get 7.5. So my answer here, no need to round. Oh, that's not right. I made a little silly mistake there. Excuse me. I need to be square rooting the 56.25, and my answer is 7.5, sorry. So my answer is 7.5, and in this case it's centimetres. Okay, so that is just looking at using Pythagoras, just the theorem, looking for either the longest side or the shortest side. Let's now have a little look at more of a problem solving question. So we have this trapezium, we have 3 of the sides, and the question wants me to work out, tells me that a square has the same perimeter. So we all know that a square, all the sides are the same. And these two shapes have the same perimeter, and it wants me to work out the area of this square. So just for this question, I am going to call the sides of my square x. So if I was going to work out what the area is, I need to work out what x is, and x times x will give me the answer for the area. So it tells me that the perimeter is the same, so I need to work out the perimeter of my trapezium and make them equal. But at the moment, if I'm going to add all my sides together, I need to work out what this side is here. How can I do that? Well, because the trapezium has 2 right angle triangles, I know that if I draw a straight line from C to the length of this shape, I'm going to have that right angle triangle. That's going to help me solve this. Okay, the height is 5 centimeters, and this here, well, because the whole thing is 9 and the top is 7, if you subtract 7 from 9, that's going to give me 2, and that is going to be my Pythagoras theorem. So 2 squared plus 5 squared equals, in this case, CD squared. That is the size I am looking for. So I have 4 plus 25 is CD squared. So 29 is what we have to square root to work out what that answer is. So the square root of 29 is 5.385. So that is this length here. So 5.385. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work out the perimeter of the shape by adding all the sides together. So the number we've just got, plus 7, plus 5, plus 9. So if we add all the sides together, my answer is 26.385. So the perimeter of both of these shapes is the same. So if they are both the same, with my square, I know all the sides have to be the same. So I know that x plus x plus x plus x, which is 4 x's, has to equal 26.385. So we divide both sides by 4. That is going to give me, sorry, let's go here, x equals, so we divide it by 4. That means each side is 6.596. So now I know what x is, I can go back to the question, and I know that I have to do length times width to work out the area. So my answer is 6.596 times 6.596, and that is going to give me, if I look at my calculator, the area is 43, and we've got to do to 3 significant figures, 0.5. So that is using Pythagoras in a more of a problem-solving type question. Right, we will do one more question maybe, which is this question. So it says we have a field, and you can see the measurements here, 11, 10 and 18 meters, and it says this part of the field is shaped as a trapezium. The farmer wants to put a fence all the way around the shape, and he has 50 meters of fence. Does he have enough? So just like the question before, I need to work out basically the perimeter of this field. So I know 3 of them. That means I need to work out this length here. Well, because I know we have right angles, if I draw this line straight across, I have a right angled triangle. So 18 minus 11 means that this height here is going to be 7. I already know the bottom is 10, and now I can call this length C. So I know that 10 squared plus 7 squared is going to give me C squared. So 100 plus 49 is C squared. 149 is C squared. So if I square root 149, that will get me what C is, which in this case is going to be 12.20. Continue. So now I know that that length is 12.20. I can add 11 to that. I can add 10 to that. And I can add 18 to that. And I get the perimeter of this field is 51.20 meters. Well, if the farmer only has 50 meters, he needs another 1.20 meters. So does he have enough? No, he does not. And it's by 1.02 meters. And that is just another problem solving question when it comes to Pythagoras. I hope you enjoy these videos. I'm just trying to do quick videos to help everybody. So please subscribe if you like them.